Playground. I see dead people.
Welcome to Blondes and Booze. You are about to embark on a journey, one that often leads to more questions than answers. But fear not, your host, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy have the experience, the perseverance, and yes, even the gifts to pull back the veil and allow us to glimpse the other side. They will share not only their experiences, but will introduce you to world-renowned researchers and experiencers to help you find answers in the murky waters of what we call the paranormal. Their bonds with each other reach far beyond friendship, resulting in a pull no punches approach to the many subjects they explore. Their goal? To open eyes, hearts, and even minds to what lies on the other side, and the answers residing there.
Hey everybody, welcome to Blondes and Booze. We appreciate everybody tuning in. This is a pre-recorded show. When you guys are watching this, either Brandy and I will be on our way to Alabama or Oklahoma. We're just not sure exactly what night this is going to play on. So one or the other, we're on our way to Alabama or Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yes.
Yes.
So
Anyway, but we still wanted to bring you guys some good content. And actually, I think this will be a pretty cool show. It's something that happened right here in St. Louis, and I'm excited about it. And we have our friend Teri Mosby is going to come on and talk about it, as she's been there as well. And but before that, Brandy, why don't you remind everybody what to watch this week?
absolutely. On Monday at 8 p.m. Central, you can watch Texas Front Porch with me and Tex. On Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, you can watch Van Buren Variety with Bob Van Buren. At 8 p.m., it's Bigfoot Michigan Rob and BMR. On Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central, it is Jason McLean's Questions Everything. On Thursday at 12 p.m. Central, it's Bigfoot Michigan Rob, but it's Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and his lovely co-host Krista. And 8 p.m. Central on Thursday, you can catch us, Blondes and Booze. And if you can't get enough, you can catch us again on Friday at 8 p.m. with Blondes, Booze, and the Woo. And every Saturday, Tex and Danielle Diva drop a new episode of Infamous Minds at 2 p.m. Central.
There you go. Perfect. Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring Teri up. And
Hey guys.
hey, how are you?
All right. How you guys doing?
Oh, I am great. Actually, while I got you here, I want to put up an event that we're doing and remind people that tickets are on sale. This is for Malvern Manor, and it will be July 8th. And look at all the cool people that's going to be there. And even Teri's going to be there. And I'm going to try to sweet talk her to see if we can go outside and maybe do some CE5 or something while we're there. So get your tickets. And they're on sale now through Eventbrite. And also, if you can't find the link on Eventbrite, you can type in Malvern Manor. It's the first one that shows up. Also, on our Facebook group page, too. I have it pinned. So get your tickets, and that's going to be a fun night. That's going to be a really good night because we have a wide variety. We have everything from UFO to the cryptid side to the ghost side. And it'll be a good night. So, guys, definitely get your tickets. All right. Let's talk some scary stuff.
Oh, I love scary stuff. I love scary stuff.
Yeah, Brandy and I are from Missouri, but Teri, she lives just right across the river on the Illinois side, so it's not far from her either. So this case kind of hits home for all three of us. I guess you could say, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I would say that because it's so close. I mean, especially to you, Krista, this is really close.
Yeah,
and
the actual house is only maybe 20-minute drive from my house right now.
yeah, and for such a story, I mean, for this amazing, crazy story to happen only 20 minutes from your house is phenomenal, actually.
Right.
And it's so popular. I mean, who hasn't heard about it? So it's just
or seen the movie,
Exactly.
Yeah. So we just want to come on and tell people the real story of The Exorcist, of the movie. Movies are sensationalized, and I get that. That's, they go for the ratings and stuff,
Yeah,
However,
they're for entertainment purposes. Absolutely.
exactly. So we're here just to tell you the real story, the backstory to all of this. And, hopefully you guys stick around and enjoy the show. So anyway, the started back in 1949.
Yes, it did.
And they call the boy Roland Doe as a surname to protect his identity. And anytime, if you guys want to jump in and holler and whatever, because I know you guys both have information as well on this case. So it started, he lived up in Maryland, and he used to do the Ouija board with his favorite aunt or something. Wasn't that true, Teri?
Yeah, it was his aunt.
Yeah. And so the way I know the story is that she passed away and he continued to do the Ouija board, is how I've heard the story. And so weird things started happening at their house there in Maryland. Like they would hear water dripping. They would go to check and there's no water dripping in the house. Just weird kind of crazy things, like different sounds. Like they thought that they might have had mice or squirrels in the house. And they even called in a pest control, but nothing was ever found. And but the noises began really predominantly in the boys' room. And just so everybody knows, Linda Blair is not the true person. It was a boy and not a girl.
Yes. And during the movie they're showing that all of these events happened in the one house. It didn't.
No,
it didn't. It happened it started happening in their house in Maryland. Yep.
And so from what I know, that Roland Doe had was scratched into him was the word Louis. And the family had family members in St. Louis. So they kind of put two and two together. And that's when they brought the boy to St. Louis to try to get some sort of help.
Some more help, yes.
Yeah. And actually, I can show you guys, I have a picture of the house as it stands today. I'm going to show it to you. It just looks like middle suburbia, I mean, mid-income.
Yeah, just a normal,
nice looking house, nice subdivision. It's in a great area where part of The Exorcism was filmed. And we'll get into that too. But, just a nice plain house. I mean,
but take note of how close that other house is to it.
Right. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, it's just right next to it. Yeah,
it is. And actually, I'm going to show a picture. Teri she's got a picture there on the front of the house. There she is.
There she is.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah. So
pretty cool though.
Yeah. And so they brought the boy here to St. Louis, and I guess, contacted the Catholic Church for help. And from what I understand, and we can backtrack too on some of this, they started doing the exorcism there in the home.
I think it lasted around 2 weeks before they moved him to that other hospital.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Well, they said that the Roman numeral X was also carved into his chest area. And so they said that they related to him being possessed by 10 demons. And some people even say, I've even heard that they say Satan himself. I don't know if that's true or not, but with as bad as that case was, maybe so.
Now, Roland Doe and that family, okay, did they move in with this other family, or did they move in this house just as their own singular family?
They moved in with the family. I believe the family
with their other family
like
members.
An uncle and aunt. There was an uncle and aunt that let them move in.
Yeah, to try to get the boy help.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, just so much stuff happened, and they called into the Catholic Church, and I'm looking here at some of my information here. When it talks about the ex, it was believed that there were 10 demons involved, and let's see here. It was Father Bowdern that actually performed the exorcism on the boy there at the house, and it wasn't working. And I don't know how many of you guys know this, but when you do an exorcism, it's just not like, oh, it's a 5-minute procedure and you're done. It doesn't happen that way. And I think a lot of it depends on demons are kind of like angels. There's different levels of demons as there are angels. I believe what was possessing Roland Doe was like the higher level demons. Would you guys agree on that?
Yes.
I would. Mm-hmm. I would agree. And, and it also depends on how, as you want to say, how far they have got their hooks in.
Right.
If the demon has their hooks in pretty deep, it's going to take some time to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and he used to, while they were performing the exorcism, the Roland would go into a seizure and he would get violent. And actually, he actually broke Father Bowdern's nose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was violent stuff. And I personally have witnessed an exorcism, and they have ungodly strength. People do, and this being a 14-year-old kid, I'm not saying a 14-year-old kid's not strong. However, I couldn't imagine how many people it took to hold him down when they were praying over him or doing the rite of exorcism on him.
Well, that just goes to show the strength of the demons that was possessing his body.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're not fighting that 14-year-old kid anymore.
No, you're not.
Right. Well, people think that a demon possesses your mind and things like that. No, it's your whole body.
Yeah.
They take control of every single part of your body.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really scary stuff. I mean, it really is. And I hope nobody out there ever witnesses an exorcism, because it's nothing that, to be taken lightly, and it's not anything joyous. And when I was there, I'm not going to lie to you, I was nervous as shit. However, you can't show any fear, you otherwise you become the victim, they can bounce into you, and next thing you know, this person's clear, but now you're possessed, So right. Anyway, it's definitely a dangerous situation, and everybody that was there, from the priest to the family, everybody was in danger.
Well, because that's why I pointed out why that house was so close. I mean, can you imagine the neighbors hearing what's going on? I mean, with all the screams and the yelling and I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. And like holy water would fly across the room in there, and candles, they would have candles lit, and the candles would fly across the room, which, that can cause a fire, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, especially back in that day and age, it's not like it happened around this time. I mean, those people, the neighborhood had to be like freaking out, like, what the hell's going on over there?
Yeah. Well, and to back up a minute, when he was still up in Maryland, Robbie was sent to Georgetown University Hospital to undergo psychological tests, and they didn't turn up any ailments. He was sent home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty scary, I mean, just in itself, because demons can show, obviously when they want. So the kid's going to look sane because they're not going to do anything when the boy's being tested.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty scary.
I wonder if when he told them what was going on, because at that time when he was still in Maryland, he heard the stuff. He knew things were going on, and he had to tell somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, did they just say, "Well, it's just your imagination," and send him home? I mean, because physically at that time there was nothing wrong with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. When they brought in William Bowdern of St. Francis Xavier College, which is out of St. Louis University, he was 52 years old at the time. He was a World War II veteran with extensive teaching and pastoral experience. He went and visited 2 days later after the boy went to the house. And then while the priest was there for the first time, he suffered scratches, not the priest, but the boy, suffered scratches in the shape of a cross, and objects, including holy water, flew across the room. So can you imagine how that priest felt at that time?
He had to really be calling on his faith. I mean, that would be, how much experience did he have with exorcisms before? And there's so many stories. I mean, there's been so many books and so many movies. Probably some of this isn't true that you read, but I mean, some of it has to be true. If half of it's true, it would just be frightening.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, imagine yourself a priest and you're going in and you're thinking, okay, this is not a demon. This is actually an unruly child acting out, da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
Not thinking that this is an actual demon.
Yeah. So Father Bowdern went permission to the St. Louis Archbishop Joseph Ritter to perform the rite of exorcism. After that happened, the Catholic Church usually has to take some convincing, but I get, you go in and you see this, there's no doubt there. You have a priest standing in there and things are, getting scratched. And what does that tell you? It would me.
If something's etching words into your chest and blood's running out, I'm thinking that would be,
Right. There's something.
I've never seen anything like that before.
Can you imagine that being your own child?
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty scary stuff. So, the bishop kept a diary, and after Archbishop Ritter authorized the exorcism, he and Bowdern, they visited the boy, and the house is actually in Belnor, Missouri, which is a suburb of St. Louis, went every night for the rest of March and into April of 1949. And other scholastics, including Walter Halloran, William Van Roo, S.J., John O'Flaherty, and Joseph Boland, also assisted during the month-long rites of exorcism.
Oh, yeah, because do you know if this went like 24 hours a day, or did they give him time to rest? Or, because I know when you get in that situation, you don't really want to give them time to rest. You don't want them to regain any type of energy. You want to wear them down, to get them out.
Yeah, but you have to, because it takes, when I witnessed the exorcism, you have to be, you can't be tired. You have to be at your best. So just being tired is a weakness, for the priest. So,
right.
Yeah, they would have to leave and go home and get some rest and then come back and do round 2,
Well, and we had a case here in Quincy. I don't know if you guys had ever heard about that. And I think when they showed the filming of it, it's almost like the possession pulls back too and takes a break. So I'm thinking you would need time to rest.
Yeah. Are you talking about the case that was on Paranormal State?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I did watch that. I think it was like a 2-part or 3-part episode or something.
Yeah, he was here for a while, and then like several years went by and he came back.
Yeah. Have you heard how the girl is today?
I don't. She kind of like disappeared there. I'm not sure what happened to her.
Well,
But they don't live in the house anymore.
yeah. I hope
Well,
she's
they're probably trying to forget, they moved away and, if they don't know them, then they have no idea what the story is and just trying to live their life normal.
Right.
Yeah. So this here I find interesting. Excuse me. On during one evening session, the bishop reported that a picture of the devil appeared on the boy's leg. On another, the word hell manifested on his chest. The boy punched Halloran in the face, breaking his nose, and resisted the rite through cursing, speaking in tongues, and by other physical means.
That would be, and I read somewhere, wasn't Halloran only like 27 years old?
Yeah, he was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He never saw anything like this before.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. And I know exorcists nowadays, that's what they're trained in. That's what they do. I seriously doubt he had the proper training.
Oh.
Back in 1949.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It just, I would probably think he wouldn't, So they couldn't do anything there at the Belnor house with him. It just kept getting worse. Excuse me. So they moved him to the Alexan Brothers Hospital. And I have a picture I will show. Actually, I have two. This is an old one. Alexan Brothers Hospital and Insane Asylum. So that's an old, it looks like a drawing or something. But here's an actual old picture of the hospital. And just to make note that today, the building is still up and standing. And it is now a low-income housing apartment building.
Huh.
Yeah. And they have that floor that he was put on. Nobody can go on that floor. So that's kind of interesting. Why?
Well, yeah, I would love to know why. When they remodeled the rest of the building, did like something bad happen, or they were just scared so bad? And I don't know if it's true or not, but I know several people that was in on some of the filmings of some of these shows, and I heard that the furniture is stored on an Air Force base in Rantoul, Illinois. So why would they have the furniture locked up somewhere in a secure place?
Right.
I just find that bizarre that, they didn't destroy it. Like I would have thrown it in a burn pile somewhere and turned it to ashes. But
right.
I mean, they actually have the furniture stored.
Yeah. Yeah. So it says on Easter Monday, April 19th, 1949, he awoke in a fit at the Alexan Brothers Hospital. Baldern continued the rite of exorcism, placing only holy items on the boy's hands and around his neck. According to the bishop's diary, the exorcist then demanded to know the name of the demon possessing the boy. The Jesuit demanded the demon to leave the boy in peace. The fit continued. According to the bishop, the demon mocked Baldern, saying, "He has to say one more word, one little word. I mean, one big word. He'll never say it. I am always in him. I may not have much power always, but I am in him. He will never say that word." So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it says, "Satan, Satan, I am Saint Michael, and I command you, Satan, and the other evil spirits to leave the body of the boy immediately." Now is the wording.
Wow.
Yeah. So it says, moments later, the boy woke up and he told the priest he's gone, telling them that he had a dream that Saint Michael the archangel had battled the devil and the demons to free him. Other reports claimed a loud noise like a gunshot sounded and could be heard coming from part of the hospital where the boy had been staying.
I think I had heard something that even after that Roland Doe had left that hospital, when he left the hospital, that weird things were still going on, even though he was not there, that he was gone. And
Right.
that was the whole reason why they just shut the whole floor down. But I haven't heard anything like clear as to what was happening. I don't
Right.
know, if things were flying around or,
Yeah.
who knows, but they nobody ever said exactly what was happening.
What
But I think
exactly
that's why
happened?
they closed it down.
Yeah.
Well, what
So
about if you live on the floor underneath it today? I mean, the apartment building, I think, would still have activity because that energy has to be shut up in there. It's just like,
right.
Yeah, well,
I want to be
it's
the person that lives on the floor underneath.
Right.
yeah, it's an asylum, a hospital. Terry, it's like how many times have we gone to investigate these things on purpose? You
Hospitals are
know?
one of my
So
favorites.
yeah, like we know that these places are haunted. Now,
Yeah.
why anybody would want to live in that particular one, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
think
there
that
has
would
to
be
be
one.
activity. I
But
would,
here's the thing, it's low income housing, and maybe that's all they can, these people can afford. They need a roof over their head. I don't know.
it's
I
beautiful though
I
now. I
still
mean,
would
they
make better
renovated it.
choices.
That place is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. It
I,
really
I
is.
think I would still make better choices.
Yeah.
I think I would try anything, just
Yeah.
to, I don't think I could live there,
No.
but
No.
would I want to investigate it? Yeah.
But this day and age, probably people don't realize that he was housed there. A lot
Hmm.
of people
Oh,
don't get
yeah.
into
Or
the
they don't
history of the
care.
story.
Right.
Well, they probably in the Exorcist just for the movie, but
Right.
don't realize that where the house is where the uncle and aunt lived at, and then the Alexan brothers. They probably don't even half the people that live there probably don't even care or know what it
Or
was.
know what happened. Right. Because like movies are sensationalized, and
Right.
did he like twirl his head and crawl on the ceiling?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Right.
It's all for the movies. So a lot of
Yeah.
people probably don't realize, they think it all just stayed in that house, and it did not.
We have, and I found it pure by accident. This would have been like, back in the 50s and 60s. We had a big tuberculosis center over on State Street, and then they tore it down, and there's low income housing apartments over there. And I know several people that's lived them, and they say them apartments is just crawling with activity over there
I can
because they're
only
on the
imagine.
ground of that.
Yeah.
And they were not so nice, and they done experiments to some of those people over there. And
Horrible things.
yeah, my
probably
mom can remember it when my mom was alive. She could remember it being there, but my mom
Yeah.
didn't drive and it was far out. So she's like, she had only saw it a couple times, but
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. So the house, and I'll pull it back up again. Here's the nice little house, Mid America, suburb, nice area, and there's that nice house. So the people who live there now, they claim they don't have any activity at all. However, a team that I used to be on, and Teri is still a part of, have investigated that house, and things happened in that house. So they say that the owner is atheist, so he doesn't believe either way. So I could see that where maybe nothing does happen to him because they don't believe it,
Right. I mean, because if you think how would a demon possess you,
Yeah.
you have to let him in. But if you don't believe in him, you're like, just
Well, and here's my thing too. So I've been privy to do quite a few private cases, and some negative cases. And I'm not saying demonic. I'm just saying negative cases. And people have, and they don't realize, by having like skulls out or negative type things out, satanic symbols or whatever sitting out. That too could be a way of inviting these things in. And so Teri sent me a picture of inside the house, and I'm going to show that. And Teri, do you want to elaborate on this picture?
yeah, this was in the living room when I was there, and I was in the house. I think it was 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in his living room.
So
And
to
that
me,
is a real butcher knife in the Pillsbury Doughboy's hand.
so that is not very positive to me, any of those pictures.
Well, and if you look all the way down on the right on the mantle, that was a little model-like type thing of Linda Blair in the bed of The Exorcist, all next to that red box down there on the end.
Right. So, and look, the one picture even has a swastika on it. Do you see
Yeah.
that, the far right
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah, that is. And so here's the picture of the doughboy up close. And I can see where that's a real knife from right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that he's BSing and really does have things go on, just don't want to admit to it, or he gives?
I think he has beliefs. I think he has beliefs. It's just not the ones we have. I don't believe it's in Christianity.
When we went there, he was there for a short period of time, and he didn't seem to be worried. I mean, he was a younger guy, but I mean, and I know of one place in particular that it was not really, I would say, demonic, but this house had all kinds of crazy activity. And when these people left, so is the house. I mean, so is the activity hooked to the boy?
Right.
You know, and I don't think the man, now that the boy's grown up, I don't think he's ever interviewed. Just has anybody ever heard, like, did it follow him in his teenage years? And
I had been under the impression.
So, I mean, that's amazing too. But
yeah, I had been under the impression that he was freed from.
He would have to be to go to college, and I mean, for everybody that don't know, he grew up and worked for NASA. So, I mean, this guy is a genius.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's pretty incredible, you know, that he grew up and worked for NASA.
And, you know, you don't know if you believe in God, maybe the power, you know, the power of God set him free, and whatever was hooked to him went on to attack somebody else. As far as, you know, we know. I mean, nobody really knows.
Right. And he never did an interview or nothing. Never about his.
No, because they were trying to hide his identity as a child until he grew up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then,
you know, if that was you and you can remember all the crap that you went through, I think that would be the safe bet, because you get to talking about that stuff and Satan and his little minions just might find you again.
That's right.
So
well, yeah, I mean,
probably smart never to do an interview.
Right. You know, if this would have happened in 2023 versus 1949, this would have been a whole different outcome, I'm sure. Because you know, the people that are actually involved and the information out there and the people willing to help and so many avenues you can go on. You know, I don't think he would have had to ever go to the hospital to begin with.
Right.
You know, I think that this, you know, this situation would have been totally different, you know.
Right.
But I'm glad that they did take the time to do the exorcism and stick with it and stay with it and finally get him released.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure he either would have killed himself or whatever was attached to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he would have been pressed. Yeah, he would have been pressed to do something, either kill someone or kill himself, you know.
Yeah. Here's a picture that Teri sent me also. That's inside the house. You said that was walking down to the basement?
Yes, the steps that went to the basement.
Wow. So,
and the guy that lives there now, I mean, he was really artsy. Like he had a little town down there in the basement, all spread out in this big, huge room that he was building. He was building like a town out of foam and all kinds of stuff, kind of like one of those railroad car cities.
Right.
But he was building a whole little city down there that was super cool.
Wow. That's
so
cool.
It didn't freak him out to be down there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there was something to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's
well,
crazy.
I never did hear, did the uncle and aunt have problems after they left and took him away? Because after he left the Alexa Hospital, they moved out of the area. So I bet the aunt and uncle would have still lived in that house.
Yeah.
I mean, did they move out of the area, or did they did the aunt and uncle say, hey, you know what? You can't come back here. That's enough. There's no more.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You don't
probably a little
know.
both. Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't know. But
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't know. It's pretty scary stuff, and it just, the demonic, you know, and I'm not knocking Ouija boards because, I know people who have Ouija boards. That's a board. However, if they get into the wrong hands and they don't understand how to use them, they can turn bad. And I believe that's absolutely what happened here. They didn't.
Yeah, and we've had the same discussion about anything, a pendulum, a spirit box.
Right.
They're all ways of opening communication. It's just kind of like you need to be um,
Right.
cautious,
Right.
and know what you're doing before you even start doing any of this stuff, because you may not be talking to whomever you think you are.
Right.
that just might not be grandma.
Yeah, this might not be
Exactly.
grandma.
Yeah.
And demons, of course, they're very knowledgeable
Mm-hmm.
about you, about your past, your family members. They can pretend to be
They know your
anybody.
deepest, darkest secrets.
Yes, they can pretend to be anybody.
Yep.
So, I guess that's the one of the rules in ghost hunting 101. Be careful.
Yep. And same thing, kind of like like with the Sally House over in Atchison, Kansas. The town of Atchison portrays it that it's haunted by a little girl. So come and spend the night here at this house, haunted by a little girl. However, the three of us, we personally know the people who lived in that house, and it is not a little girl in there. I guarantee you.
Right.
And it literally, like, his wife seen the entity as a little girl. However, Tony's seen it for what it truly was, a demonic entity.
Right.
Do you think
Well,
that
that's another case? I mean, we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
I know people that have gotten activity, but I still think whatever that was is connected to those people. I don't think it's there now.
okay?
Nope.
And that's what I was going to ask. Do you think that it's still there?
I don't think so.
At the house in St. Louis?
No, the Sally House.
The Sally House?
Sally House.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a door was opened at some point to allow this entity in, and I think with it came other things.
Yeah.
That weren't as important.
What about if a troubled person would go in there?
Yeah.
That kind of like in that first stage, and if they went to the Sally House or the Exorcist House, for that matter, any place where there was demonic energy in the house, don't you think maybe that would bring it all back up? It might be quiet when you go there, but if you have, your faith in God or whoever you believe in, you might be protected. But if somebody that was kind of like having mental problems and disturbed and on that little fine line of going over the edge,
I got to tell you, the Sally House. I personally know somebody who it was during. Do you remember? I guess it might have been back in 2018 or 19. They had the lunar eclipse. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So they had the Sally House rented for during the lunar eclipse, and there was a film crew came in there, and when they left, their team broke up. The one guy suffered a stroke. I mean, like, something bad happened to every person that was in that house. And that is common with the Sally House. Like, it picks its victims. Why does it pick these people, but not these people? Because, Teri, I know you investigated it and not a damn thing happened.
Right. I was in the Exorcist House for about 8 hours. Now, we did have activity, especially down in the basement and in that boy's room. But I mean, it was nothing demonic.
Yeah.
I mean, but you could feel it. I mean, those rooms had a character of all their own. And so you kind of knew it was there. But then, they done the live there with the Ghost Adventures too. And I wonder, I mean, they probably wouldn't put it on TV, but I'm not, did they have any after hour activity or illness on any of the crew cast or?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. You know, when I said that, I was meaning like the Sally House, because I know you investigated the Sally House and nothing happened, correct?
Nothing happened when we were there.
Yeah.
We were there like 17 hours on that one.
Yeah.
But therefore again, they don't come out just because I show up with my equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not something happens every time you go into some place that may be haunted. It's
Right.
Well, that's
sometimes
my point, though. Like, why does it pick on some people and not others? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
it depends. I think it's more along the lines of the emotional
Hmm.
stability going on in the house. Now, I'm thinking that if like emotions are elevated,
Yeah.
and if there's a lot of arguing going on in the home, negative thoughts, this, that, and the other,
Yeah.
fighting, I'm sure that is just an open door.
I know of the Sally House where a high school girl, all she did was peek in the window, and an exorcism was performed on her not long after. All the girl did was peek in the window.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the Sally House. And that's what drives me nuts, is because, the city of Atchison advertises it as it's haunted by cute little Sally.
That cute little girl. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, they really play that up, don't they?
and you know what? I'm going to put the drawing up. It was Tony and Deborah Pickman who lived in that house. And this is Tony's drawing of Sally when he first seen her. He first seen her as a little girl. Cute little girl. But that's how his wife, Deb, seen her the whole time.
Mhm.
And when Tony lived there, and I know of a time when he told me that he worked nights and he came home. Deb was in another room. He was in the bedroom, went to sleep. A hag-like figure came out of the wall and attacked him. Dressers were being overturned. Clothes was being thrown all over. His
Mhm.
wife was right in the next room and never heard a thing. And he was yelling for help. She came in the room and everything was chaotic. Like everything had been thrown and you could clearly see, but yet she never heard a thing.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and maybe the guy that lives in the Exorcist house, he probably might have a wall built up to that, or
Maybe
he might say he's atheist, but whatever I think everybody believes in some kind of power. So
yeah.
maybe whatever his faith is protects him.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't know. It's just it's pretty scary stuff. It really is.
Yeah, well, by the stuff hanging on the walls in his house, that's a little odd.
Yeah.
To have a belief in something, whether
I wonder
light
maybe
or dark.
He was young then, and I was crazy in my young days too. So maybe it was just a phase. Those pictures are kind of old. He might have Norman Rockwell hanging on there now. Who knows? But
yeah, and as for putting out skulls and stuff, I may be a little bit in trouble. I got skulls everywhere. I love them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that's what's getting me in trouble. Who knows?
But then again, maybe he did have stuff. Maybe he made a deal with the devil there or something. Who knows?
You never know. You never know.
So we don't know.
I don't think I would have made that deal. You got to think that he's there,
Mm-hmm.
and he bought the house full well knowing that this went on in the house.
Maybe not, though, because Missouri is not a full disclosure state on things like that.
Yeah, but the documentary The Haunted Boy was already out.
Yeah, but not everybody would have saw it, maybe he didn't. He got it for $169,000, and that's a beautiful neighborhood and a beautiful house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he didn't care.
All that old woodwork in it when I was in there. it was a pretty house.
Yeah, maybe he didn't care. He said the price was right.
Exactly. And if you're young like that, it's probably like
Right. You never know.
I probably would have done that at 25. Yeah, I'd have to admit it. I probably would have done something like that.
You know what? Yeah, I probably would have too, before kids and the whole thing. Yeah.
Because then you can tell all your friends, guess where I'm living, and how many people want in your house that's on TV.
Yeah. Slumber party at my house.
Right.
And we
everybody bring their PJs and holy water.
Yeah. He let us have access to the whole house but his bedroom, and that's his personal. I get it. That's his personal space. So, I mean, he did open up the house to the public, basically.
Yeah. So it's not really a house that I really want to go messing with,
It's just cool to say I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been by there.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's true. It's kind of like you'll probably be, Teri, one of the very few people that actually will ever get a chance to go in it,
Yeah. Probably no more,
Mm-hmm.
Because as far as I know, I don't think they've let anybody in since the 100th episode of the Ghost Adventures. And like you said, that was back like 2014, something like that. And it was Ghost Adventures crew was there. Chip Coffey was there. The Tennessee Wraith Chasers were there. The Booth Brothers were there. And then our paranormal team, Paranormal Task Force was there. So yeah. So it was quite a few people there. I actually think Dave Schrader was there or somebody. Might not have been Dave Schrader. Might have been Dave Schrader. I don't know.
Oh, wow. I know it was a big event.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's the story, the true story of the Exorcist movie.
The Exorcist movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, a lot of that, as we talk, that it is for entertainment value, a lot of that stuff.
Sure.
But when you take the things that actually did happen, they are still scary.
Right.
When you have them speaking in different languages and speaking tongues and where their voice is not even their own, it's someone else's voice. And that is enough.
Yeah.
You don't have to crawl on the ceiling and twist your head around and spit pea soup. You don't have to do all that stuff. Just do that, and I'll leave. I promise.
Yep.
I'm out.
And I have to give the credit, though, to the people that tried to protect him. They probably did it on a girl when they made the movie on purpose just to throw off the trail. Because well, if it was today, social media and the reporters wouldn't have left that poor boy alone, maybe his life wouldn't have turned out so great like it did.
Right. Right.
Or as great as we know it. I'm sure, he might still have nightmares. We don't know all of that. So, but I mean, he did have a successful career, but I mean, you got to give him kudos for trying to hide his name and away from him so that he, if he was set free for sure to where he could continue his education and get a job, and you got to give him credit for that.
Right.
He just wanted to have a normal life.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a part of his past he probably didn't want to talk about. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
No. So,
because like we said earlier, you just might be inviting that back in. Can you imagine?
Right.
You lived through all that. I sure as hell wouldn't want to do it again.
Nope, not at all. And that's the thing, to people watching, the demonic, they pick on the weak. And you have to invite them in either knowing or unknowingly. So, just by, if you're being attacked by a demonic entity and say, it's messing with your kids, all you have to do is say, leave my kids alone, come after me. Well, you know what? You just invited it.
Yep.
Or you go to the local antique shop and you bring something home. Guess what? You just invited it unknowingly, but you just invited it. You could move into a house and it's already there. Well, you're there. There's and even being personal when doing ghost hunting. I personally don't get personal with spirits because I was taught that is a way of inviting them in. So I never say, oh, my name is Krista and I have all these kids and I live here and I've got, 3 dogs, blah, 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 blah. I never get personal. It's always about them, not you. Would you guys both agree to that?
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that.
But don't you think though, that if it were a demon, a real demon, that it already know everything about you that it would need to know?
Oh,
So you wouldn't even have to say your name. You wouldn't have to give all that information.
However, you're not inviting it in though by keeping your mouth shut, not telling it.
But that's what I'm saying. It would already have that information, so you wouldn't need to talk to it.
Yeah, I have been on countless public overnights events where the attendees are saying, "Oh, touch my leg." Well, hello, guess what you're inviting? Chances are it's probably just Casper, your ghost. However, there's that one small, minute chance. What if it's not? And you just invited some demonic entity to touch your leg. I never invite them to touch me. I guess that's where you get educated. Yeah.
So you know the difference between what is, demonic activity versus regular spirit, activity. Because, there is a difference. There is a difference. And just like at the Sally House, children, they're going to appear as either children or something that you would deem harmless, that you would not be scared of. And a child is one.
Right.
Well, and who knows if that didn't happen at the Exorcist House? I mean, that boy might have had like a little companion that came in his room, and it started off with that. And it's
a true story. Yeah.
I don't know what he talked to on that Ouija board. I'm with you. It's just the board. It's all your intentions, and you got to know how to shut it down at the end of the night.
Yep. I think in the right hands, it can be used as a good tool. In the wrong hands, it can go south real quick. That's my views on the Ouija board.
Yeah, I believe you're opening a door without even realizing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. There's just a lot to the demonic type side, and like on this particular exorcist case, it was believed that he was possessed by 10 demons. And that's the thing too, people, when you hear of these demonic hauntings, sometimes it's not just one, and then, like I said, there's different levels of the
they could be ganging up on you and you don't know.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know how well you know the case about Emily Rose. I mean, she's one that didn't make it because, I mean, they won. The devil and his little minions won on that one.
Yep. Yes. Ultimately, she died. Well,
Krista, we're past the 52-minute mark, just to let you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll call this a show. I've actually got to go and pick up a kid. So
don't want to leave her.
No. And actually, we started this pre-record late because Brandy forgot us.
I did, but I didn't.
She's got a busy weekend. I'm gonna let her slide. She's got a busy weekend to get ready.
She does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like I just had so much going. I tried to cram in too much stuff when all I needed to focus on was the show and getting ready to go. That's all I needed to do. But no, I was trying to cram everything in.
Forgot the show. So
I forgot the show.
There you go.
Well, then I didn't have a ringer on my phone, so somebody had to call me, Krista. And then I didn't answer the phone because I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we appreciate everybody tuning in and watching the show. And tune in next week. Honestly, I don't know exactly what night the show is going to be played. So we will either be on our way to Alabama or Oklahoma. I have no idea. So tune in next week. And we appreciate each and every one of you guys. And
Thank you.
Final word. Yes.
We'll see you next week.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.